All right, we're going to get started here. All right, now, what we're going to do today is to not talk about any chemistry. Exactly, how sad. Say that so everyone can hear that.
How sad.
Right, because you're paying for this. This is 3% of the course we're pissing away today. What we're going to do today is talk about administration, philosophy, how things get done, and so forth. Now, what are we going to do in this course? If you read the description of the course that's written on the registrar's website, it tells us this course is about organic reactions, nucleophilic and electrophilic substitutions and additions, electrophilic aromatic substitutions, carbonyl reactions, catalysis, molecular basis of drug action, and the organic chemistry of pharmaceuticals. There's a lot of words in there that you don't know about. So to summarize what we're going to do in here, we're going to talk about organic reactions, the processes by which one molecule is converted to another one. These reactions are going to be not only important for work in the laboratory, but a lot of them, the vast majority that we're going to talk about, also have biological counterparts. So if at any point during this class you're asking yourself, why are we studying this reaction? Chances are there's some sort of biological counterpart. They're often just a little bit more complicated. Also, you will want to access the course website. The URL is there. And there are all sorts of useful things on the course website. Generally, the kinds of tools that are there, there's a lot of them, so it's useful for you to go to the website, find which particular tools might be useful for you, and use them. Experience says that people who make more copious use of the website generally tend to do a little better in class. There is on the course website a discussion of course philosophy, which is kind of summed up in two quotes, both by scientists, one by an inventor and the other by a teacher. The first quote is from Thomas Alva Edison, who was probably in the late 19th and early 20th century one of the most intellectually productive people in the world. When he died in 1930 or so, he had about 1,250 patents to his name. Not to a company, but to him. Now, Edison was not a very educated man. I don't even know if he finished high school. But somebody once asked him, to what do you attribute your success? And Edison said, genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Now, he did not mean by that you have to live someplace where it's hot and humid to be successful. Although he said this when he lived in East Orange, New Jersey, or West Orange, one of the two. Anybody here from New Jersey? Yeah? Which, north or south? Sopranos or the casinos? I'm sorry, Bergen County? Oh, I'm sorry. Of course, I'd say that no matter where you were from, unless you were from around Princeton, which really is a pretty part of the state, or what they call the Pine Barrens. But everything else is, well, Bergen County. Hey, but I'm from outside of Philadelphia, so you can pick on me too. What Edison meant by this was, you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to have book smarts, although Edison certainly was smart. You just have to be willing to work hard. And I think that is a really good philosophy for this class. It says you don't have to be a Rhodes Scholar. You don't have to be someone who is aspiring to get a Nobel Prize. I hope for the best. But you got to be willing to do some work. This course is going to consumes time. You learned that in 14C. It's the nature of organic chemistry. I'm not going to lie to you about that. It does take time. But if you put in the effort and you're honest with yourself about it, and you're a reasonably intelligent person, which you are, by the way, because you're here at UCLA, you should be able to do okay. All right. The other quote that's up there, I don't recall the exact quote, but it's from a chemistry textbook author, and it says, when you sit down to study chemistry, you should have a ream of paper and a dozen good pencils because you're going to do lots of problems. And I agree with that, although it should probably be 2 reams of paper. But you should also have an eraser, or at least be willing to cross things out, because you're going to make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes, but mistakes can be valuable. I mean, unless you're going, oh yeah, that's right, carbon doesn't have 8 bonds. But if it's something you're going, wait a minute, I don't understand why this doesn't work. Figure out why it doesn't work. Learn why that pathway isn't productive, why that idea is bad, what the misconception is, so that next time you won't make that mistake. Don't be an amoeba which goes, oh, wait a minute, there's pain that way, I'm not going that way. The amoeba doesn't try to figure out why, it just avoids the pain. Be the person who figures out why it doesn't work that way, what's bad about it. All right, there's also some exam and study hints, which you've probably seen by now, having been at UCLA or other universities for a while. You know all the things they tell you about studying. Some of these are appropriate or more designed for organic chemistry, but there's one up there which I want to emphasize, and that is the idea that you should study organic chemistry every day of the week that ends in D-A-Y. And some of you already know this mantra. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. In other words, every day of the week you should study. The advantage to that is because it keeps your brain thinking about it. You're kind of nagging your brain about this organic chemistry stuff. And eventually, for those of you who know about nagging, you know that eventually you go, all right, fine, I'll do it. Eventually, if you nag your brain enough, your brain goes, okay, this is important, and it goes into long-term memory. But you can also think of your brain like the hard drive on your computer. Right? If you don't use your laptop for a while, the hard drive slows down. And then when you want to use it, you got to go, come on, computer, wake up. As opposed to, oh, I can keep tweeting or twittering or whatever it is that you do. Right? If you keep tweeting or twittering or chirping or whatever the term is, you can do it quickly. But if you tweeter or twit or whatever it is and then come back to it an hour later, your computer has to come back up to speed. So it's the same thing with using your brain all the time. If you're using your brain all the time, your hard drive keeps going, always ready to accept information. There is something called the Illustrated Glossary of Organic Chemistry, which, as the name implies, is a glossary. But it's more than that. It's a glossary of organic chemistry terms. But every term, at least of the ones that are done, right now there's currently something like about 1,140 terms that we plan to do definitions for. There may be more. But every one of those has a picture that goes with it. So, for example, if you don't remember what a stereocenter is, you go to the Illustrated Glossary of Organic Chemistry and look it up, and not only do you get the words, but you get a picture. And the glossary is heavily hyperlinked, which means if you go, wait a minute, I don't remember what Kahn-Ingold-Prelog means. You click on Kahn-Ingold-Prelog, and it takes you to the Kahn-Ingold-Prelog entry. It's kind of like Wikipedia, except that it's more accurate and just about chemistry.